There's a stigma that buying a house with one income is going to be more difficult. And in my opinion, that's just not the case. Sure, it's possible that as a single income household, your total income may not be as high as that of a dual income household. But if you have solid savings, good credit, low debt, and stable income, you are just as strong of candidates for home buying. I bought my first home with a single income and over the years have helped dozens of others do the same thing. I hope by the end of this video that you can see successfully buying a home isn't just about whether you are a single or dual income household, but rather how financially stable you are. So let's get right into it. The first essential step to buying a house when you have a single income is to boost your credit. I know if you have been following and watching my videos for a while, you hear me talk about this all the time, but that's just because it is so important. I want you to understand that a 640 credit score is going to be kind of that benchmark minimum for most loans. Of course, there are some outliers that are going to allow you to get a loan with a lower credit score, but just kind of overall, 640 is what lenders are going to want to see. If you have a higher credit score, like in that 740 range, you are going to be able to get better loans and better borrowing terms, like a more favorable interest rate. So it just makes so much sense to work towards that number. Now, the second step is saving for your down payment. The more money you put down on a house, the less risky you are seen in the eyes of the bank. It's no secret that buying a home requires significant financial investment. The median sales price of homes in the US has been in the 400,000s for like the last few years now. So the sizable financial investment is one of the reasons why historically it's common for people to wait until they are in a significant relationship and have a two-income household before buying a home. Last year in 2023, 59% of recent home buyers were married couples. 9% were unmarried couples, according to the National Association of Realtors. A huge demographic of buyers is married couples, and it's easy to understand why. With two incomes, it's easier to qualify for a mortgage and afford a bigger loan. Plus, there's always going to be more financial security. If one person were to lose their job, then the other person's income could likely cover the mortgage until things get stabilized again. But that doesn't mean that you need a partner in order to buy a home. According to that same National Association of Realtors report, 19% of people who bought homes last year were single women and 10% were single men. So 29% of buyers purchased with a single income, and that's nothing to ignore. If you're watching this video, it's most likely because you are a single income earner. And if that's the case, I want you to understand one big thing. You may feel like it's impossible to buy, or that with a single income, how could you possibly keep up with dual income buyers? Here's what I want you to understand. Being coupled up doesn't necessarily mean that you have two incomes. So we're not going to hear as single income earners play the victim card, okay? The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, they conducted a study of household income earners that spanned from 2020 to 2021. Of married couple families that they studied, only around 50% were actually two-earner households. And let me tell you something else. When you get a loan, your entire financial profile is reviewed. Your credit, your income, your debts, all of it. The reason that I mention this is because I have seen quite a few times when dual income households try to use both incomes on the loan. If one of those individuals has trash credit, tons of debts, loans, it can jeopardize the purchase even though there are still those two incomes, okay? So here's what I want you to do. If you're still with me and this is resonating with you, I want you to close your eyes and visualize home ownership in your future. What does that look like for you? How will purchasing a home help you? You clicked on this video for a reason, and I want you to take a minute to head to the comments and leave one actionable step that you are going to take this year to make buying a home a reality. Maybe it's just for you. Maybe the desire comes from wanting to have a stable place for you and your kids to live. Maybe it's even just so that your dog can have a backyard of its own. Tell me what you are going to work on this year to make your goal of homeownership a reality. And I will be in the comments right behind you to cheer you on. Okay? Let's keep each other accountable. Right now, I'm reading Think and Grow Rich for the first time, and I think I'm all about how visualizing and speaking it into existence will change your life. But anyway, let's get back to the steps. The third step is going to be to pay down your debts. Like I said earlier, when you get a loan and you look into buying a house, your entire financial picture is reviewed. So the less monthly debt obligations you have, the more income that you will have freed up that can go towards paying the mortgage payment. Now, I have made a video on my channel which covers debt to income, or the DTI calculation. In that video, I show you essentially what lenders are going to look at and how to calculate your debt to income ratio on a single income. This is really going to show you, one, is a lender going to approve you for a loan? Two, how much of a house you can afford. So if you have not watched that, I'll have it linked at the end of the video. Definitely check that out because your debts are going to play a huge part in all of this. The fourth step is to get pre-approved. Once you have figured out your debt to income ratio, you know how all of this with your credit score, your income, your debts comes into play, and you're serious about wanting to buy a house, you will want to get pre-approved. Now, this is when a lender is going to start reviewing your finances. They're going to either give you some action items that you need to work on before they can give you a pre-approval, or they will be able to say, hey, Nicole, I've reviewed your file. This is how much I can pre-approve you for. Here's what your monthly payment would look like. And that's super beneficial because that's essentially going to show that you, as your single income earning self, is pre-approved. You have the loan essentially ready to go. And it's going to show sellers when you're looking at their homes and making offers that you are a serious buyer who can actually purchase their home. So it's absolutely essential piece to starting this process. And the fifth essential steps is to utilize government-backed loans. There are government-backed loans. You may have heard of them, like an FHA, USDA, and a VA loan that are all backed by the government with low and no down payment options. Of course, like I talked about earlier, the more money that you can put down, the better, right? Because you're reducing your total loan balance and you're just setting yourself up for financial success. Putting a little bit of money into your home is going to make it more stable. You're going to have a little bit of equity right off the bat. But if homeownership is something that you want to pursue sooner rather than later, there are some options that are low and no down payment loans just to take a look at. I only really want to mention that because when I was looking at buying my first home, I thought it was something that I was going to only be able to do about 10 years later than I actually bought it. And that was because I thought that I had to have 20%. Everyone talks about 20% down payment in order to buy. I ended up using one of those government-backed FHA loans, and I only had to come up with 3.5% down payment. So it is definitely something to look at. I'm going to be making updated USDA, VA, and FHA loan videos. So make sure to check those out when they are posted with 2024 updates. So it might take a little bit of extra planning as a single income earner to get your finances in check to where you can purchase a home. But with the right determination and the knowledge of what is needed to get you there, it is 100% possible. So there's 3 things that I want you to do from here. 1, if you haven't already left that comment of your first actionable step, please do so that I can cheer you on. And I probably will be checking that throughout the year. So you better follow through because I might be commenting and tagging you like a few months in and being like, hey, how's that savings plan? The second thing is I will have on the screen now my debt to income video, as well as just the general steps to buying a house. If you have an interest in purchasing your first home, but you're still kind of confused about the process, Don't worry about the debt to income video now. Instead, check out the steps to buying. This is where I walk you through everything that you can expect, and I think it will help you a lot and answer a lot of the questions that you have. I'm Nicole with videos to help you find your way home, and I will see you in the next one.